All right, welcome to day 3 of our strategic education mini series here. First off, just want to hone in onto what we've talked about so far. So we've talked so far about the traditional approaches, using other people's money, like scholarships, grants, those type of things. And then if we have to use our own money, we talked about 2 options, RESP and tax-free savings accounts. I just want to stress every type of savings vehicle has advantages and disadvantages. So it's not to say that necessarily one is better than the other, but we need to understand if the advantage of an RESP is the grant, what are the disadvantages? And the disadvantages there are that you're required to take it out during the school years and you don't have a lot of flexibility and freedom on that money. Now in our world, we put a lot more stress on flexibility and freedom to maximize what you could be doing at that time rather than thinking of things in silos and looking at what the government's money is. Now, I don't know about you, but when it comes to government handouts or anything, free money is not always free money. Okay, so we just need to know the pros and cons. So stay tuned, day 3, here we come. So today, by the end of today, I am going to talk about what I do for my kiddos. I've got a 2- and a 4-year-old, and I plan differently for each of them. And we're going to go through a few different opportunities and strategic alternatives you probably haven't even considered because they're not necessarily talked about necessarily at the bank level or whatnot. Okay, so here's how to maximize the traditional approaches. So we talked about the problem. The problems are, 1, that we don't get to choose when we take it out if we use something like an RESP. We don't get the growth on that money. It's actually costing us well over $100,000 out of our own pocket at the end of the day because that money is a single-use dollar, so we can't use it for other things. Here's a few ways we can maximize that, the traditional approaches, so if we want to do that. First off is a deferred withdrawal. So if you have a tax-free savings account, have the students get a loan or a line of credit. And then what that does is it builds their credit for the future, which we all know they need, and allows your savings to grow for a longer period of time. Again, on this exponential curve conversation, it's not until you're 20 where, 15, 20, where all of a sudden the money's actually starting to grow and it's starting to get exciting and the compounding actually starts to take effect. That's exactly when you're taking it out. Let me show you an example of what this looks like. If we put in $2,500 a year for 18 years at 5% into an account, so let's just say it's a tax-free savings account, which means you get to choose when to take it out and how. We put it in for 18 years, you see you're 18 here, okay? We could have $73,000 and change saved up. Now, if you're in a tax-free savings account avenue, if we defer withdrawals, meaning that the student goes out and gets a line of credit or goes out and gets a student loan, which let's go with the best case scenario, we get a student loan and it is deferred, so you don't actually owe until 6 months after graduation. So let's say they go for a 4-year program, so we don't actually owe anybody a penny, really, interest-free, until 4 years and 6 months. So that's looking at between year 22 and year 23. So let's take the average here. Let's say if we let the money accumulate in the tax-free savings account and didn't have to take it out, we could be looking at around $92,000 and change. If we do the math, that's $19,000 more growth potential in that 4.5 years. That's at least another year's tuition. So this idea that we could defer the withdrawals because we're going to use someone else's money for temporary means. Okay? One way to do it, where you could still fund the whole thing, but use someone else's money for a little bit. Okay? Second thing we could do is pay the student loans. So instead of taking lump sums out of something like a tax-free savings account, you get the student loans, and after they graduate, instead of taking the money out of the tax-free savings account as an example, the interest is tax deductible. So let the child write off the interest on that student loan, and you just pay back the loan on behalf of the student. Same outcome, that the student did not have to pay for university, you still funded it, but what that does is it allows the principal of your account to stay intact and you're not pulling out the whole thing. So it still allows this idea of growth for your own personal retirement, maximizing every dollar that you put away. Third idea is interest-only withdrawals. So this is, again, an example in a tax-free savings account where we can withdraw only the growth. So let's say your account is worth $90,000. We'll get a calculator up here. Let's say the account is worth $100,000 and we want to $90,000, and let's say we're earning 5% on it. That's $45,000 a year. So $45,000 a year. Now let's think about it. Is our account going to be, is the student loan going to be more than $4,500 a year for payments? We don't know, okay? But what we want to do is we want to give ourselves a flexibility and the option that we could just take growth off the account and leave the principal intact for your own retirement and your own emergency savings going forward. So options, okay? Here are two other options that you probably haven't considered that I'm just going to brief on today, because these are options that have a lot of other bells and whistles to them that you don't even realize. Okay, here we go. Cash value permanent life insurance. I talked about this in our retirement strategies last week. This cash value has other benefits that any type of RESP and TFSA will never have, like creditor protection. If you get into a lawsuit or you get if you go into bankruptcy anytime within that 18, 20 years of trying to save for your kids because life happens, money in a cash value life insurance is not touchable. They can't touch it. TFSA, RESPs, your home, they can access that. Cash value permanent life insurance does not have management fees. It's built into the premiums, meaning that your fees on your account do not increase with the value of your account increasing, which if you're in a traditional mutual fund world, that's what will happen. You can still tap into the cash that you built in a permanent life insurance policy tax-free. There are plenty of options to do that. And it self-completes for death or disability. We don't like to be doomsday planners, okay? But life happens. What if along the way, your 10 of savings, all of a sudden you can't work anymore, mom or dad, because you got too injured or sick to work for, let's say, even 2 years. 2 years of not saving for that child's education could actually mean a make or break for you guys. What this does, cash value permanent life insurance, if you qualify, it is a qualifying type of product. It will continue to fund for you if you cannot make payments in because you're disabled. Or something happens, mom or dad dies, the life insurance is paid out so that totally funds the education plan, okay? Different values, different aspects that you don't have in traditional planning. The other option is equity in your home. People don't think about, okay, well, if my child, they're 1 or 2, by the time they're 18, what's my mortgage going to be? Would it be better to pay a little interest on a home equity line versus taking money out of an interest earning account? Interest versus taxes, deferring the withdrawals. It's another way that you could defer the withdrawals of something like a tax-free savings account and use the equity in your home at that time. Listen, we don't know what 18, 19 years will hold. So we don't know if in 18 years it's going to look more favorable. The interest rates are going to be higher or lower. We don't know. So we want to leave ourselves up for maximum flexibility and options, okay? Cash value life insurance. Let me just give you some rundowns as to how this works. It utilizes permanent insurance where the cash value grows tax deferred, much like an RESP. You can use the cash in the policy for any purpose, like a tax-free savings account, and the cash in the insurance policy is safe from bankruptcies and lawsuits. It's protected if you become disabled. It self-completes if you die, okay? There's no annual or lifetime maximum. As long as you qualify, you can purchase as much of this as you want, throw as much cash in as you want, as long as you qualify. Depends on your child's insurability. Now, these policies, it's twofold. It could be put on mom or dad, or it could be put on the child. There's pros and cons there. It can go on the child because then that sets them up for their future. You don't know if they will contract something in their childhood years that all of a sudden makes them uninsurable in their adult years, like in our family. We've got 2 uninsured people. My 2-year-old son and my husband is traditionally uninsured, so they cannot even tap into this, okay? Tax-free growth, tax-free death benefit, tax-free cash value. It's guaranteed cash and managed portfolios. So what you need to know is that the cash within the life insurance policy, after a 20-year period or so, we can look at an effective internal rate of return of 4 to 5%. So it's not that it's higher than a GIC, okay? And it's a lot more guaranteed, because what happens is when the cash is declared every year, even if the markets go down, your account value of that cash value will not go down. It is contractual guaranteed at that point, okay? A lot more securities. Continues to be funded if the parent becomes disabled or dies. So whether the policy is on the child or on the parent, there's a provision for that if you qualify. It can be used for education, a house, a wedding. If there's backup plan to use the cash values to pay premiums. So it's another thing. What if something happens that you get a job loss? It's not because you're disabled. Well, the cash within the policy can help self-fund itself for a little bit to get you back on your feet. No one else is going to put money back into a TFSA or an RESP anywhere if you lose your job. It's not going to happen. There's no government rules or mandates as to how to use it, and you can use the cash value for school if it's on the child, and you can still have the death benefit to give as a gift to your children for their future family. It doesn't necessarily deteriorate the plan. There's plenty of ways to structure this. It's not a one-shoe-fits-all. There's so many ways. That's why you need a designer to help you design the plan, okay? Equity in your home. How would this work? You can use a home equity loan to finance your child's education. Yes, there is interest associated with that. I understand. But sometimes it is better to use other people's money at a lower interest rate and keep your money on that exponential curve for your future. Sometimes it's better. You can use the growth on a TFSA to free up cash flow, to pay back the loan if you want. Essentially, what you're doing is keeping the money that you've been saving intact for your own retirement. Here's an example. If you borrowed $50,000 from your home equity at a 3% interest rate and payments of $5,460 a year, okay, you could have it paid off in 11 to 12 years, but your retirement savings are intact. You don't have to restart the savings for your retirement. So the numbers will vary. Depends on what interest rates are at that time, depends on a lot of variables, but there's a lot of variables that are going to happen within year 1 to 18, okay? We don't want you to start your retirement savings after education savings. That's the big kicker here. We don't want you to wait until you're 18 where all of a sudden, oh, great, now I don't have to save for the kids. Now I can start saving for me. You've missed out on a whole lot of critical years, so we want to do both. If you had to start saving from retirement from scratch after their education, let's say you're 30, you're 30, you start saving now at year 50, when you're 50, at year 20, okay? Between 50 and 65, now you only have 15 years to save. After you've saved for them for 20 years, you're like, all right, I can finally put money away for myself. You put that away for 15 years at 4%, it's 50 grand. It's $24,000 less than if you had just left the TFSA alone and never kept funding it after, okay? So this idea, again, that the money needs to sit and be compounded to take advantage of these economic principles, but most people don't because they're thinking in silos, okay? Here's the summary. Here's the 4 options that we've talked about, okay? RESP has a grant. Woohoo! TFSA does not. Whole life insurance does not. Purpose cash value life insurance. Home equity does not. Tax-free withdrawals. RESPs are mostly tax-free. They're taxable to the child. TFSA is tax-free. Whole life insurance can be tax-free as loans, and home equity is tax-free. Disability protected. Cash value life insurance is the only one. Death protected. Cash value life insurance is the only one. Flexible. I would say TFSA, cash value life insurance, and home equity loans are all pretty flexible. Market protected. Well, life insurance is the only one. Home equity, the value of your house can go down. It's the way it is, guys. Real estate is not always guaranteed. It typically is a safer haven than all stock portfolio as far as volatility, but it can go down. Management fees. The cash value life insurance is the only one that doesn't have that built-in management fees, and home equity, okay? There could be fees associated with having a home equity line of credit, but there are no management fees. So here's the idea. In our world at Oasis Wealth, we look at things in the macro. We look at, okay, what could happen in the next 18 to 20 years? We don't know. We don't know what our kids are going to want to do, but guess what? I'm going to plan for the maximum possibility out there, and that means having multiple places to pull from education, not just one. If you know that you absolutely are going to put all that money away and you know 100% you're okay with losing that for your own future and losing the maximum potential you could use on those dollars, then use an RESP, okay? But I caution against them because you lose out on so much maximum potential for your own world, okay? So my question to you, when it comes to education, do you have a product or are you more strategy-based? If you just have a product and you have no strategy as to how you're going to use that, give me a call, okay? Our office is still open. We are open and available as everything is happening right now. I'm open and available from my kitchen, as you can tell. Give us a call. Send us a message on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Send us a note through Instagram. Let us know how we can help. Okay, this is very critical to understanding that your world does not end when the kids go to school. Now, what do I do for my kids? I said I was going to tell you. Okay, I've got one child, my 4-year-old, who is completely healthy and insurable, so she's got cash value life insurance and tax-free savings. Now, my son, he's got a disability, so he doesn't have the same options as she does. So for him, it's a registered disability savings plan, and I will go into that. If you've got a child or if you know someone who has a child with a disability, you have to know what those are. For him, it's going to be a mix of TFSAs and these disability savings plans, because the way I plan for my son, who may not be able to hold down a full-time job in the future, is very different than my daughter, who I have full confidence will go to a 4-year program. Okay, so that's what I do. That's what I've been doing since they were 1. Okay, So let me know if I can help you strategize and let you to design the perfect plan for where you guys are right now. And you can start this anytime. It's not that if their kids are 10, we can't start it now. Nope. It's all about looking at the full picture, the full model, your full economic position, figure out where the best resources are going to be for that event, no matter what age they are. Give us a call, like this video, share this video. Have a great day from Oasis Wealth. Watch for our next video series for next week. Have a great day.